Hi guys, as you can tell, I'm not in my normal setup. My previous video explains all of that, but even though there's some inconveniences, that's not going to stop me from doing these reviews at the moment. So today we have a review on the new Netflix movie Malcolm and Marie. A filmmaker returns home with his girlfriend following a celebratory movie premiere as he awaits what's sure to be imminent critical and financial success. The evening suddenly takes a turn as revelations about their relationship begin to surface, testing the strength of their love. I personally am not someone who watches many romantic movies, but as there was a lot of hype behind this one, there was a great cast, so I was excited to check this one out. But now I have. Let's move into the ratings that this movie has. Both of these scores are most likely going to change as this movie was only released yesterday, but on Rotten Tomatoes it currently has a 58%, which is a rotten score. I didn't expect to see that from this, but then with more votes on its audience score it has a 77%, which is a lot better. Moving on to IMDb, it has a 6.8 with 3.7 thousand votes. That will likely go up more in the coming days when more people have seen it and more people have voted on IMDb. But now that we've got the ratings out of the way, let's move into my pros and my cons about Malcolm and Marie. So right from the beginning to the end, this movie has fantastic cinematography. Just some of the ways that it's shot, there's a lot of those long takes where the scenes aren't cut, they're just left raw, running, and it really makes you feel like you're in the room with those people acting. I always find those sort of shots very impressive, and it wasn't just those sort of ones, there was a lot of smart, intelligent shots where it would include both characters in the shot when they're not actually next to each other. Like, for example, if one was sitting down at a table eating mac and cheese and the other one was right in the distance, or you could like see the reflection from the mirror. So the way that they made some of those shots, even when some of the characters weren't even in the same side of the house, it was really well done. But the main standout here is our two and only characters, Malcolm and Marie, played by Josh David Washington and Zendaya. They were both very fantastic. I'm expecting some nominations from those two in the coming months. I personally haven't seen Euphoria, but the director directed Euphoria, which obviously stars Zendaya in some of her best work apparently, and he knows how to get the best out of her from here, as she portrayed many different emotions very, very well and was superb, as well as Josh David Washington, who was also great. His character points very over the top, but he went for it and he portrayed that character very well with all that over the top nonsense. They picked two perfect actors and actresses to portray these two characters, and they really did their best job, and it was great to see. Some of the things that these two characters argued about or discussed felt very real, and not many movies tend to contain some of those things, as it can come across a bit boring. But here it feels very real, as they include those things which might not entertain the crowd, but they do really feel personal, and it just makes a lot of this film feel more real. And the fact that it takes course pretty much with no cuts in time, no time jumps, it just makes you feel like you're watching it happen live, and just, you know, watching from the outside of the house, seeing these two people argue within their relationship. But moving into my cons, the negatives about this movie, they were a bit frustrating. So I mentioned there was a lot of real elements to the arguments they were having, but a lot of it felt a bit unnecessary and forced just to keep the argument going. I know that could be part of the character's, you know, personality to not let things go, but random things would just be brought up and sometimes they weren't really on topic. I think partially it was to increase the runtime, but just seeing these two characters argue for so long, despite some great monologues, just having them argue for so long, sometimes about unnecessary things, it got a bit exhausting to watch. I mentioned this movie doesn't really have any time jumps, it's all like seconds after seconds. It's not really like, oh, they cut the scene and then they come back to it an hour later. It keeps going onwards. As they weren't in the same room all the time, there was a lot of just pauses and just some silence where they just sit down or smoke or something, and that really did make the movie drag at points quite a lot. I know it's there for dramatic effect, but you know, I'm all for that kind of stuff, but at times I was like, oh come on, just speed this up. Now this isn't really in negative, it's just something that I picked out. It was in black and white, this movie, and it takes place in modern day. You know, they talk about the Lego movie, they talk about all these internet and having your bank card on your phone, and you know, they have phones, so it's clearly in modern times. I guess the black and white was symbolic, but I didn't really feel like it didn't really add anything to the movie's quality. It didn't uplift it that much. You know, it didn't bother me having it in black and white. I'm just picking it out of the bunch, you know. It's not a problem, it's just something that's a bit random in my opinion. So that was my review and my pros and my cons of Malcolm and Marie. I've mentioned this many times, I've seen a lot of bad movies this year, but this certainly wasn't a bad movie. It's easily the best one I've seen this year. I'm not going to say it's a fantastic movie. It was above average, I'd say. I'm going to give Malcolm and Marie a 68%. Compared to all the other things I've seen this year, it looks like a masterpiece, but yeah. I'm sure there are many better romantic movies out there, but if you want to see some good performances, you won't be disappointed here. Thank you for watching today's video. I'd really appreciate if you liked and subscribed. If you're wondering where I am at the moment and why I'm not in my normal setup, then I'll leave a clickable card up in the corner to my previous video where it explains all of that, so make sure to check that one out. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of Malcolm and Marie, or if you plan on watching it. And once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.